Here we are, just set go. Are you a travel lover in search of your next destination? Well, you're in the right place. We provide up-to-date travel information for fellow travel enthusiasts like you. Don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell for instant travel news from around the world. Hong Kong, the city pulsates with the visual energy of a fireworks display. It resonates to the din of a dim sum restaurant's peal hour. Mesmeric in a multitude of ways, at times chaotic, intriguing, puzzling, endlessly exciting, and in parts possessed of an astounding alternative beauty. This city is a place that precipitates the strongest emotions. It is fueled and inspired by constant immigration from mainland China, from elsewhere in Asia, and from the four corners of the world, with more than 7.3 million souls simultaneously focused on top dollar and bottom line in an area rather smaller than the English county of Berkshire, and less than half the size of the American state of Rhode Island. Cosmopolitan yet integrally Chinese, Hong Kong's inhabitants are defined by what's written on their business cards. Off-duty, they may go shopping, play tennis and basketball on courts perched atop skyscrapers, or pinball their way between the bars and clubs crammed hugger-mugger in the numerous nightlife zones. Hong Kong took an extended bath in the limelight at the end of the 20th century, with a dignified return to Chinese sovereignty in 1997, which marked the end of a colony, an era, and an empire. It's all history now. Hong Kong is a special administrative region of China, with a key role to play in the spectacular growth of the Chinese economy, although it remains markedly different from the mainland. The one country, two systems pledge is clearly working, despite concerns and protests over certain issues. Within this framework, Hong Kong's peculiar cosmopolitan blend of Chinese and Western, and its prosperity, continue to thrive. For the first time, however, it is now facing significant competition from neighboring regions. The rapid economic development in the Pearl River Delta has propelled emerging cities such as Shenzhen onto the global stage. Additionally, Macau's once laid-back atmosphere has undergone a remarkable transformation with the establishment of numerous glamorous casinos that generate more revenue in patacas, the local currency, than their counterparts in Las Vegas. The question remains, does this former crown colony possess the endurance to stay ahead? Well, according to those in the know, the smart money says, absolutely. Outsiders may see Hong Kong's people as materialistic and sometimes brusque. But there are reasons for this, including an obsession with success. The people of Hong Kong are variously described as being the most business-minded, materialistic, competitive, and restless population on the planet. Few other cities have such a complex, unsettled history. It is a place that moves at lightning speed because time is money and every minute costs. Though it can sometimes infuriate, life in Hong Kong is addictive, and even those who have escaped to more peaceful places, vowing never to return, have been drawn back like iron filings to a magnet. Even the most jaded visitor usually finds something seductive about it. Hong Kong's 7.3 million people are packed into just 1,103 square kilometers, and certain areas have some of the world's highest population densities. During rush hour, overwhelming crowds of commuters squeeze themselves into trains and buses. Lunch hour is a feeding frenzy, as thousands of office workers dash for restaurants, jostling and barging their way into tiny noodle shops and delicatessens. Elbowing strangers, jumping queues, and honking horns in traffic jams are unavoidable features of daily life here. As a major trading port situated on the fertile Pearl River Delta, Hong Kong has long been a magnet for immigrants in search of a better life. New arrivals continue to flood in from China and overseas, all sharing one dream: to make money quickly and to enjoy spending it. This continual injection of new blood is part of what gives Hong Kong its excitement and intensity. For those seeking a settled, peaceful existence, Hong Kong will be a hard slap in the face. This place resounds with rags to riches tales of entrepreneurs who built up their business empires from scratch, and this promise of success is in the minds of almost every immigrant who heads here. Most of the local people in Hong Kong speak Cantonese, not Mandarin. The official languages now in the city are English and complicated Chinese. The Cantonese language often sounds harsh and argumentative to unaccustomed ears, but its humor, slang, and interspersed English words make for lively conversation. Cantonese is also centuries older than Mandarin, the official language of China, which evolved later in the courts of Mongol emperors during the Yuan dynasty. Therefore, the original rhythms and sounds of classical poetry are probably closer to modern-day Cantonese. On a day-to-day level, Cantonese is a bawdy language. Quite innocent-looking individuals swear like troopers, and people are often brutal when commenting on other people's appearance and delight in puns and double entendre. To most people, Hong Kong's history starts with the Opium Wars in the 1840s. However, archaeological studies have uncovered evidence of human habitation along this stretch of the southern Chinese coast, dating back some 6,000 years. Most of the excavated stone tools, pottery, and other artifacts have been found preserved in coastal areas, suggesting a strong dependence on the sea. Bronze appeared in the middle of the 2nd millennium BC, and weapons and tools such as axes and fishhooks have been excavated from local sites. The West began to show an interest in China and Asia during the 15th and 16th centuries due to the increased trade in products such as silk and tea. The Portuguese were the first to arrive, trading with China at various points along the coast and establishing a settlement at Macau in 1557. The British, on the other hand, did not appear in force until the latter part of the 17th century. In 1685, ships began arriving from the British East India Company stations on the Indian coast, and soon Hong Kong, with its deepwater harbor, began to establish itself as a trading hub. To begin with, in the early 18th century, trade with Western countries was in China's favor. Traders paid huge amounts of silver for fine Chinese tea and silk products, for which there was great demand in Europe. Tough terms were imposed on foreign traders, considered to be barbarians. They could only live in restricted areas. They could not bring in arms, warships, or women. Learning the Chinese language was forbidden, and traders also had to put up with the Chinese system of royalties, bribes, and fees. Furthermore, local merchants were appointed by the emperor to keep an eye on foreigners. Anyway, if you guys are interested in learning more about the history of Hong Kong, I can create another video to delve deeper into it. But for now, let's jump right into the main topic. What should we do in Hong Kong? Today's Hong Kong can be divided into 4 parts: Hong Kong Island, the Kowloon Peninsula, the New Territories, and the numerous outlying islands. In Hong Kong Island side, the Central District, which is the Hong Kong's business and financial hub. There are many attractions behind this financial hub. The first place I highly recommend to visit is the Peak. The Peak, properly though rarely called Victoria Peak, is Hong Kong's most notable landmark, the residential aspiration of the upwardly mobile population and destination to more than 7 million visitors a year. The Peak is to marvel at one of the world's finest vistas, which on Hong Kong's increasingly rare clear days should include a view all the way to mainland China. Many find the nighttime views even more incredible. A vast glittering swathe of electric light, most spectacular immediately below in central area, as the building attempt to outdo other in their eye-catching displays. The Peak Tower boasts shops and restaurants plus a viewing platform on the top. From the Sky Terrace, you can enjoy a superb 360-degree panorama. There is also a gallery with regular outdoor exhibition. For indoor entertainment, the Peak Tower has its very own Madame Tussauds, with over 100 waxworks of Asian and international celebrities that delight photo-op-crazed visitor. The best way come up to the Peak is by the Peak Tramway. Once the Peak Tramway was opened in 1888, the area quickly developed into one of the most sought-after places to live in Hong Kong and has remained so ever since. The upper terminus of the Peak is the Peak Tower. Shaped like a walk, this is probably for many people one of the ugliest buildings in Hong Kong. From ancient to modern, from Rolls-Royce to rickshaw, Hong Kong offers every mode of conveyance for rich and poor. But the territory's quintessential transport is the Star Ferry. Shunting back and forth across Victoria Harbour, these green and white ferries link the community together in a way that is both symbolic and endlessly practical. Costing just a handful of Hong Kong dollars, the crossing of Victoria Harbour aboard one of the Star Ferries is an 8-minute visual feast. The first of the current Star fleet made their maiden voyages in 1898, although earlier ferries began operating a quarter of a century before that, until Hong Kong Island was connected to Kowloon by road tunnel in 1972 and the Mass Transit Railway in 1979. The Star Ferry was the prime way to cross the harbour. These days, it is generally quicker to use the MTR unless you are traveling between points close to the piers. A kind of double act with the Star Ferry, Hong Kong's fleet of electric trams was introduced in 1904 and has remained virtually unchanged since 1925, when the familiar double-decker cars came into service. Some of the 160-strong fleet now have comfy seating and air conditioning. More are due to be upgraded over coming years, but managers have promised the tinkering will not overwhelm the tram's antiquated charm, enjoyed by 230,000 people day. Hong Kong's electric trams are an affordable way to see the city, with a flat fare of $2.50 Hong Kong dollar on weekdays and $3.40 Hong Kong dollar on weekends. However far you go, as long as you can get a seat on the top deck, preferably at the front, where the views are accompanied by a refreshing breeze. It's a great vantage point from which to observe the city go about its business. A seat at the rear of the top deck is also good and gives wonderful photo opportunities. Coming back to Kowloon, the Temple Street night market stalls start setting up in the late afternoon, but the market comes to life after dusk. Best known for its fake designer goods, this is the perfect place to hunt down that tacky memento, with stalls selling souvenir t-shirts, lighters, watches, bags, jeans, old coins, crafts, small electrical gadgets, mobile phones, and toys. Palmists and physiognomists vie to reveal your destiny, and there are numerous Dai Pai Dongs, basic Hong Kong-style diners serving up tasty seafood and hot pots to eat at functional fold-up tables and stools perched on the edges of the street. If you enjoy a daytime shopping more than nighttime, Ladies' Market in Mong Kok will be a good option for you. This market sells everything from fake designer accessory and clothing to cheap cosmetics and toys. It is also a popular area for shopping and dining. Few minutes walking distance to Goldfish Market, which is a group of shops specializing in tropical fish and unusual goldfish. 10 minutes walk to the north, approaching Boundary Street. The colorful flower market has a fascinating selection of cut flowers, houseplants, and feng shui flora. Nearby is the photogenic Yuen Po Street Bird Market Precinct, accessible through a traditional gateway and containing a string of melodious songbird stalls. Each of the three principal outlying islands, Lantau, Chung Chau, and Lama, make a rewarding day trip from the city. Attractions include sandy beaches, seafood restaurants, appealing villages, beautiful scenery, and, on a different note, Lantau's Disneyland theme park. For those who like finding a piece of peaceful land, Lin Monastery and Tian Buddha will be the best options. Up on the mountainous central spine is one of Hong Kong's best-known attractions, the red, orange, and gold Lin Monastery. The large complex, which dates back to the 1920s, is busier and noisier than the average Buddhist retreat. Its canteen serves good vegetarian meals between 11:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. However, the real crowd puller is the 26.4-meter-tall Tian Buddha, known colloquially as the Big Buddha. The three-story base on which Buddha sits is modeled on the support structure for the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests at Beijing's famous Tiantan Temple, and explains the statue's name. A long flight of steps leads up to the statue, and there are fantastic views from the top when the weather is clear, while an exhibition in the base of the statue explains how it was built. The monastery has managed to retain a semblance of serenity despite the proximity of the airport and the number of tourists who come here to see the Big Buddha. Their access eased by the Ngong Ping 360 cable car. It may be a bit expensive, but it's the best way to reach the central Lantau Heights from the Tung Chung train station, which gives views across Lantau and the airport, although haze can spoil this. Glass-floored cabins add extra excitement to the journey. Once at the top, stroll through Ngong Ping's gardens to the Big Buddha. I highly recommend visitors should buy an Octopus stored value card, which permits travel on the rail systems, buses, some minibuses, and ferries at reduced fares. It can also be used at many public phones, photo booths, vending machines, and for purchases at a number of retail outlets such as 7-Eleven, Starbucks, and local supermarkets. Octopus cards are sold at service counters at Airport Express and mass transit railway stations. When you leave Hong Kong, you can take it as souvenir, or you can return the card to the station. The value of the card will be returned. Around 95% Hong Kong people have their own Octopus cards. Nowadays, people tend to have their Octopus card in their phone. It's more convenient. With such a wide range of fantastic places to explore in Hong Kong, it's impossible for me to cover them all. If you're interested in discovering more attractions in Hong Kong, I encourage you to leave a comment below. I'll do my best to create another video to continue our journey together. And if you've already been to Hong Kong and discovered some amazing places, I warmly welcome you to share them in the comments as well. Your insights and recommendations are greatly appreciated. If you find this video interesting and helpful, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to continue creating content for this channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.